Hi, welcome to Afterthoughts.
Welcome. Good to have you. Be with you.
Yes.
To be here.
Good to be here with you.
Yes.
We haven't done this in a while.
In a while.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Good job.
Don't I look better when I'm beside her? I mean, seriously. I mean, it doesn't take much to make me. Got a long way to go, but I'm so glad, and I love doing this with you.
Well, me too.
Very good. I'm excited.
Yeah. And we're glad that y'all are out here. And so we encourage you to share or to invite someone to join you tonight for Afterthoughts. So
Yeah.
that would be great.
We're going to have a little fun for a few minutes
Yeah.
and then kind of step into what Afterthoughts is about. So hang on. It's going to be a good time tonight. Good
Yes.
time.
And I see chocolate, so that's always a good thing.
Chocolate. We brought chocolates.
Yeah,
we have some chocolate questions.
You got something
Are you
to
going
do
to start with?
chocolate.
Are you going to before I do my chocolate
Yeah.
questions? Are you going to do something? You have a question?
Yes, before we start with chocolate, I do have a question, and some of you have already heard it, so play along. If I were to sneak into your house right now and take something off the top of your refrigerator, what would be up there on your refrigerator for me to take? If I snuck in your house and took something off the top of your refrigerator, what would it be?
A fly swatter.
Yeah, that's true.
A recipe box. Actually,
Yeah.
there's this old recipe box we've had as long as I can remember us being married, and it's got some old vintage recipes in it.
Yeah.
A lot of stains on it, kind of recipe. That would be cool.
Yeah. I'm kind of short, so I can't really see what's really on top of that refrigerator. But I do know there's some really dusty plants and a recipe box.
Oh,
and
man.
There might even be something from Christmas
Empty
still
egg
up
gardens.
there. All right, you're seeing stuff.
Hello, Tony. Yes,
Dust
yes.
bunnies. For sure there's dust bunnies.
Dust bunnies.
On mine.
Yes. Oh, dry erase markers. Okay. So
Why?
what would be on your...
That's funny. It's funny,
Yeah.
like, why do things end up there?
Why do things end up there? For sure.
We did have a party at our house once, and one really tall man said, "Have you looked up here lately?" I'm like, rude.
You guys are
Rude.
like, well, when our son-in-law came into our life,
my
and he's
gosh,
like
that's
6'4",
true.
6'5", he just sees things none of us see. You
Yeah,
know,
it was
and he can
embarrassing.
reach things,
Super
but
embarrassing.
It's handy getting stuff down to the top shelves for Christmas.
Yes.
To have that guy
Yeah,
around,
yeah,
that's for sure.
yeah.
Okay, so good to have you here for Afterthoughts.
So
Our first question was, if we were to look on top of the refrigerator, you were to give us something from on top of your refrigerator, what would it be?
Right. That's
Give
the
us a hint.
question.
Oh, man.
My chat's not really working, so I want to look on your phone too.
Okay, all right.
See, I don't have
So-
Andrew here, who usually fixes my
That's
phone
right.
for me.
That's right. Yeah,
So,
that's right.
I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to do our best, just
Okay.
you and I.
All right.
All right. Well, listen, I've got some chocolate. Today is a good chocolate day, and so I actually want you to taste these 3 chocolates. This is one of these Godiva chocolate things. I have a question for everybody, though. 2 questions. You can answer both of them or one of them. What is first of all, thumbs up on talking chocolate. That's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 2 questions. First of all, just your go-to, your quick chocolate fix. What is your preferred quick chocolate fix? I'm thinking like Hershey Kisses or M&Ms or peanut M&Ms or something. We've got some Godiva, 3 different kinds assorted. So we're gonna just eat. It's not really a taste test. We're just eating,
Okay.
seeing what we think. Okay. But so that's my one question: is your go-to chocolate. So answer that one. In the same time, answer if your best chocolate experience ever. Like, was it a chocolate mousse? Was it this Mississippi mud? Remember that you had at one time? Was it a chocolate pie? It could be a historical, or it could be your with time and effort, your best chocolate experience. What would you order at a restaurant for a best chocolate experience? Just today. I mean, I realize you can. The best chocolate might be different on different days, but today, what is your go-to chocolate? What is the best chocolate that takes preparation? Maybe it could be a chocolate pie, cake, whatever. What's the best chocolate? So
Chocolate chips.
Chocolate chips are your go-to?
They're just there, and it has to do with the refrigerator because even if I would hide them on the refrigerator, somehow the girls would find. The girls in our family would always find no matter where I hid the chocolate chips. The boys, not so much. So chocolate chips are just an easy go-to.
Right.
Not gourmet, but it's still instant chocolate. And one of my favorite chocolate experiences is here at Point of Grace when we used to have alpha dinners and desserts. And Joy, a lady named Joy, would make her chocolate fondue.
So chocolate fondue, that's
that's
one
a
of those
good one.
big
Good one.
experiences. Okay, so we have some almond joy for a go-to. Salted caramel chocolate. Oh, man. So we did one of those Tiff Treats things for our daughter-in-law who had birthday yesterday, and she lives in Houston, it was so much fun. We were sitting in bed the night before, figured out which chocolate. We got these chocolate brownie trio. It had salted caramel chocolate. This one. So, all right.
All right, are we going to eat these?
Yes.
Or
Oh,
we're
yes.
just
That's
torturing
what we're
them?
going to try. No, we're going to. So this is. So we got ganache. We got. Let's see. What is this? All right. Chocolate caramel Lion of Belgium. What is this? I think.
Wow. The words are always fancier than what they taste.
Chocolate
Thanks.
caramel Lion. Is that the shell? No. What is that? No, that's the shell. Belgium dark chocolate ganache heart.
Yum.
And then
Yum.
an oyster. Did we get an oyster? No.
I don't know. I
think
really
we-
don't care what the name is. That was really good.
I think that's a hazelnut.
I could hide that on the
Oyster.
refrigerator
Okay.
from you later.
Now, what's next? Okay, this one is the lion. This is milk chocolate caramel Lion of Belgium.
Wait, I have to do like Andrew. He always cleanses his palate.
Oh, so this is the what we just ate was an oyster. That's an oyster, I guess. Milk chocolate hazelnut oyster. That's what we ate. Now this is the milk chocolate caramel Lion of Belgium. All right, you guys go run get some chocolate. You just have to join us in this.
Oh, there's stuff in that one.
Oh,
The lion has stuff in him.
really? Caramel. That's why I just put the whole thing.
No,
They're bite-sized. Why are you biting? That's why you need a napkin. If you just open it, pop the whole thing in your mouth,
No.
you don't even have a napkin.
you could take a Hostess cupcake and think that was bite size.
It is.
No, it is not.
They make Twinkies. It's bite-sized.
All right, that one was okay. What's the next one?
Oh, man. White chocolate will always be my favorite. Spoonfuls of Nutella. All right? Samples from at a chocolate factory. Okay.
Hey, we went
that's
to
your
Hershey,
basic-
Pennsylvania once. Remember that?
I do.
That
I do.
was fun.
We got our last
That
one
was all
here.
about chocolate. We need
This
to get
is
on.
Dark chocolate ganache heart.
They just say
for
that.
the one who owns my heart. There you go.
That's funny.
White? No.
They say the word
Dark
ganache
chocolate
and it makes you
ganache.
think it's better.
Yeah. Why is that just filling? Pudding? Is ganache just pudding? Is that good? You know, these are good chocolates. This Godiva.
This one's really good. So the lion one was not quite my favorite. I'll still eat it though. Clearly, I have no trouble loving chocolate.
Hold it. You have half yours left, and I don't have any left.
I'm saving them
Well, I've
for
got all these
later.
left.
After we get through this.
Chocolate, yay. York
right.
peppermint patties.
Those are good.
Best chocolate experience. Oh, Michelle Turnipseed said David's Groom's Cake.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. My mother made a German chocolate. Oh, Groom's Cake. It was awesome.
Okay,
Oh, my
so
goodness.
I'm going to try to transition us from chocolate
To why we're here?
and refrigerators. Y'all need to finish telling us what I would find on the top of your refrigerator if I were to sneak into your house right now and take something off the top of your refrigerator.
and also best go-to chocolate.
And best
favorite
go-to chocolate.
And favorite chocolate experience or best ever way to eat chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we were talking earlier today or whenever about these Thursday night afterthoughts. And if anyone cares, anyone watches, should we keep doing this? We talked about this whole taste test business. Is that a waste of time or do people like that?
Kind of an evaluation.
Yeah,
thing
just
we do.
kind of thinking in the future, are we going to keep doing this and stuff? And so originally when we came up with the little fun taste test or the fun question, it's because COVID was so serious and so down and just needed some senseless, mindless fun
Right.
something. So it's kind of like the box, though. If we got rid of the taste test, I'm not sure if we would have anarchy.
Yeah, right, right. I know among those of us that do this.
Yeah. Plus, it was finally my turn to get chocolate. So.
That's right.
Otherwise, we talked about why are we
And
doing
also
this?
really for people to engage.
Yeah, people to engage
And really
and chat.
help one another. Could we even say disciple one another?
Yeah.
Yeah, through the chat.
But on the next deeper level, besides the fun part, which laughter's good medicine,
Right,
it even
right.
says that, is that on Sunday morning we have worship and the sermon and great topics and content from God through you to his people, which I really believe he works through you to us. And it's not just Delton up there. So that's rich. But now since it's been on a TV, there's even that barrier between the live experience and hearing you as you became a tele-evangelist.
Telepreacher.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Everybody's a telepreacher now.
it's harder for me to engage in my living room through a TV maybe. And I could even it could be to where I miss church until I don't really miss church anymore, right? That was a good
Yeah.
quote from someone the other day.
If you miss church, the problem is eventually you may just not even miss church.
Right.
Right.
So this was set up as a midweek time to re-engage intentionally with whatever God was up to Sunday, what he's trying to talk to us about. And then if I don't have an intentional time, I probably won't get around to it. I mean, it helps that I have to be here, so that is really good. I don't miss one. So,
Right.
But if I wasn't here doing this, I kind of know in my gut I might not bother printing off the resource page on Sunday morning. Or I might say, oh, I know it's on my phone. I'll get around to it later. And I've just been thinking that's my responsibility to take better care of my soul during this time and do something in the middle of the week instead of just from Sunday to Sunday when really I'm just sitting there watching you. I'm not totally
Right.
engaged.
It's almost like Sundays can be the start of something that then
Yeah.
goes, and it actually gets better through the week. It
Yeah.
goes deeper. It's just an introduction on
Yeah.
Sunday. And that way we're not just jumping around at 15 different topics, all hitting them this level. We can drive deep.
And then a second layer to the in-between Sundays Grow Group, which is a small group ministry here at Point of Grace that now that we're online, you can be anywhere in the world and participate in a Grow Group. So if you aren't engaged in any kind of group where you talk in a smaller setting, I mean, it's Zoom still,
Right.
but that's the way of our world right now. If that's something that you are lacking and would love, you just can comment there and we'll try to get back to you. Or you could go to andrew@pog.church because we're trying to always come up with some new groups. And the reason
create
that's
new online groups.
important is so that in between Sundays you're engaged again and you have community and someone actually knows if you're having a rough week. Because here in this world, you might be still sitting at your home having a rough couple of months and no one knows.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just rich caring for your soul and your mind, studying God's word and applying it. So with all that being said, we're going to talk about,
Let's
that's like our grandson, let's talk about Psalm 51.
yeah. So we're going to share our afterthoughts. You share your afterthoughts now, a couple of days after, and questions too. We'll try to respond if we happen to see what we see, but yeah, I'm excited. So what do you think, Psalm 51?
Okay, so it's at pog.church, and then under the worship online, there's tabs for sermon resources. So that was sermon notes from the Sunday, but then it also gives you daily readings, recommended books, different things. So it's a really good resource when I take the time to look and print it off. It's always well worth the time.
Good.
So, okay, so we'll just read a few of the verses to get us started and refresh our mind.
Wow.
But Psalm 51 starts with, "Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love. According to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. Wash away all my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin." But what I really loved about Sunday is that you're showing us there's these transcriptions or subscriptions or superscriptions
Superscriptions, right.
that are attached to the English parts of the Bible to kind of give you a hint what that psalm might have been centered around. And this is a biggie because David was bad.
You're right.
He was the king, and he was on a rooftop, and he looked at another rooftop and saw Bathsheba, which cracks me up that her name has the word bath in it because she's taking a bath and he sees her and wants her, and
Right.
she's Bathsheba. That I want to know what the original language said, if it was bath, whatever. That's too ironic for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the story goes that he ended up going
Committing
and
adultery,
committing adultery. Then he tried to cover it up
Right.
by trying to
Murdering,
arrange that her husband would come from the battlefield and sleep with her and get pregnant, and then that would look like it was his child.
Because Bathsheba was
She
pregnant.
got pregnant. But that didn't work because Uriah was an honorable man and said, no, I refrained from that while we're at war. And then David said, well, that didn't work. Now what will I do? This is the king. This is David. This is God's king. Okay, then he arranged for Uriah to be killed on the battlefield. And so what I loved about how you describe it, so you've got all this sin heaped on sin, but she is living in his household, and he sees her all the time.
Right.
So it's not like you forget. It's in your face all the time. So then finally Nathan the prophet confronts him, and David finally decides, it's time for me to go deep with you, God, about what I've done. And right there I'm thinking, there is so much stuff. I avoid God. I am not going to go deep. Or I think, oh, I'll get to it later. So this has been a huge exercise of this psalm is there for us and for me to go there, to take something that's a wedge or something I'm hiding and use it and see what God, how he wants to restore the joy back of this area of my life.
Yeah, and I love the idea that it's sometimes we think, okay, I've got this big thing and I need to deal with it, and I deal with it and it's done with. Well, the fact is, it's not about. Sometimes it is a big thing, and the big things are big things, right? But most of the time, it's just normal life.
No, true.
We are broken, sinful people. How are we going to process through that and get, or is it just going to pile up and eventually it piles up and burdens up, right? And so I think these tools are about everyday life, about having tools through which we can walk through life and deal with life and process our brokenness and sinfulness, always being restored to his, to his life. So.
Well, that's even better. I'm not just going to look at this now for the biggies, but everyday life.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because normal stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. And I love the way he kicks off. He starts. We saw that the first part was he counted on the mercy of God. By the time he wrote this psalm, which probably wasn't right after, but don't you think he was processing this, the guilt of this, for years and years?
Well,
and
I
years?
had read it could be many years. Like they could already have 2 or 3 more children by the time he finally did this.
Right, yeah. And he might have done it, but it didn't wind up in this kind of a psalm. But we see what he's learned. It's almost like he almost knows what he's doing by the time he gets to writing it down, But the first thing he does is just trust God's mercy. So
that was a really good point on counting on mercy, or we won't come at all. In our grow group the other night, we were talking about that. What did you mean by that? And I felt like it meant if I have a father, or if I view God as a judge who will not listen to me, or he's going to be mean and no mercy, I'm just going to get what I deserve, I'm probably not going to go to him very easily because I don't think there's going to be a chance. But with God, since you can count on his mercy, and he's so precious that way, I can approach him then because he's proven over and over how merciful he is, even when I don't deserve it. So that was really important for us in our group as we talked about it. And you need a friend that you can come to and know they'll be gracious with you. So it's kind of like, I loved that point.
Right. And I think we sang, have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love, according to your great compassion, blot out my transgression, wash away all my iniquity, cleanse me from my sin. I mean, he's saying, I got to count on your mercy, or we won't go to him. We won't be clean. And I think I mentioned Sunday about it's a great parenting tip, you know. Kids will not come to us unless they know they will receive mercy. Doesn't mean we can't also teach and discipline and lead and guide, but if they know there is hope, there's forgiveness, there's grace, if they receive mercy, then we get the true them. Otherwise, we'll get a facade of them. We'll get a front, not the true person. You'll get a half-hearted. We'll get, and they're thinking, okay, what do I have to do to get out of trouble? And God is, and David is saying, I'm way beyond that. I just need God's mercy. He's counting on mercy. That's so.
I think it can swing the other way too, where I count on his mercy so much I don't bother coming to him at all, because he is so kind and merciful, and he forgives, and he forgives even when I don't ask. You know, the whole blood of Jesus covers when I. But so you can swing either way. He's so merciful, I don't need to bother.
Yeah, maybe there's a difference between counting on mercy and assuming. I think we can assume in the sense of count on, but not assume in the sense of there isn't a process we need to work through still to live under his grace. So.
And it's part of soul care. This is good.
This is good. This is caring for souls.
This is not like a fear-based thing. This is a good thing.
Right.
Because you're wanting that joy restored that's missing. There's a chink. There's something in the way. Okay, then you had this one thing that I needed help with of you explaining to me.
Yeah.
You have these 3 words, and I don't know what do you mean by 3 words, but it's transgression when I am rebellious, iniquity when I twist my morals to fit my circumstances, justifying myself, and sin when I miss the mark of what God desired for me. So I understand the word and then the definition, but I don't understand, is this a degree of something? Is this like, what do you mean? I see those words in the psalm, but so help me.
Yeah, so it was interesting, the Hebrew words that get translated into these English words, the transgression, iniquity, and sin, the Hebrew words are just a different dimension, a different look, a different description of what human beings do as people, rebellious to God or sinners. What do we do? And so there's different words, just like we have different words. And so David is accessing these different words to try to fully describe the place he's in. I have been rebellious to you, God. I've been immoral. I've twisted right and wrong around to satisfy my purposes in the moment. I've just missed the mark that you had for me, God. So he's using the different vocabulary, just like we have. But you see, it just allows him to go. He's using different vocabulary to try to peel off. Later on, we'll talk about layers of grace, to take off layers of guilt. And I think this vocabulary, it's poetry, right?
Yes, that's true.
That's what poetry does. It doesn't just say, oh, I've said I'm a sinner. No, it says, I've transgressed, I've been immoral, oh, God, I'm just so.
So I thought of a funny iniquity example. When your kids, I can remember, I remember one child of ours, and we had just moved in our house and had a brand new stove. And we went somewhere, and I said, no fire, no matches, no something. You walk out. I come back in, and the kid is melting shotgun shell, like black powder rifle balls,
that's right,
on my brand new glass top stove.
Yeah,
in
he's
some
melting
kind of
lead to make
I'm like,
balls.
What the heck are you?
Bullets.
First of all, that's my brand new stove. And then I told you no fire, no this. He goes, you didn't say I couldn't use a stove. You said no fire, no matches. So
electric stove's okay, though.
So that reminds me of how we'll twist stuff.
Yeah.
You
say, oh, man. Yeah.
Why are you over there? You didn't say she couldn't come over. You said I
we
couldn't
manipulate morals so they fit. Yeah. And that's what he did when he looked at Bathsheba, And so he's just reflecting on that and using the vocabulary that he has available to him to begin to describe. That's why I mentioned the 3 words.
And later, I want help, too, of this restoring the joy of your salvation with all that he did, and that she's still in the house, and they're married now. But when we have a sin that faces us, or we just think about all the time, how did he receive that forgiveness and mercy and find joy of his salvation, yet he's still there seen the brunt of his life was not perfect from then on either. So
Oh, no,
many
no, no.
consequences.
Right.
But I hope we don't forget to talk about how my sin is staring at me, and you're tormented and you can't forgive yourself or whatever. But then God says, but I want to restore joy to you, restore joy. How do you do both of those? So I hope that we remember to touch on that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's kind of intro to the next section about the confess deeply, which was the next section in the psalm. For I know my transgressions, and my sin is always before me. Against you only have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight. You're proved right with your verdict and justified when you judge. Surely I was sinful at birth, sinful in the time my mother conceived me. Behold, you delight truth in the inner being, and you teach me wisdom in the secret heart. So he's just going deep there. He's just allowing himself to be just trying to just, but this whole idea of the sin always before me was what you're getting. Bathsheba was, after Uriah died, then David took her into his home, and so she's mourning. So his sin is always before him. They lose a child,
You say on the notes, confess deeply.
Yeah.
Staying in the shallows, relieves us but doesn't save us. And that sentence is so powerful. And
Okay, help me understand how that strikes you.
Okay, because staying in the shallows and just kind of flirting with confession or halfway confessing or a quick stab at it here, I know good and well I'm not going as deep as I need to, probably, or layers like David was. And I'm like, I'll do it later. To me, that's staying in the shallows, whereas going deeply is so much richer. Even like a husband-wife or a friend relationship, if you've hurt me and you give me this kind of halfway apology, I want more. I want something deep. I need you to go deeper and tell me the things I need to hear that really hurt me, not just a general apology. So I feel like there's something with God. Like he would love me to go deeper with him. Right. Plus, it's going to cleanse even better to really say what I am so sorry for.
Right.
But it's hard to do that with each other, much less God.
Right, because...
Or maybe it's easier with him than people, I don't know.
Because we feel pain, because we have to begin to own our brokenness then, and nobody wants to do that, But I think the thing about just two people, especially a husband and wife and families, is that's such a great place to kind of see how this feels. So the difference in me just quickly saying, I'm sorry, and I just know I'm in trouble, or something, but I just say I'm sorry to try to get out from under it, right? And yeah, thumbs up if you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here, and so, but then there's a difference in that and saying, Dawn, I am sorry for, and beginning to name that which I am actually confessing. And then I'm saying, and then for you to hear you and say, well, I says, am I close? Is that what hurts so bad? I could ask you that. And then you could say, well, yeah, because sometimes I've confessed things. She goes, that's not even the problem, right? But it invites the response then, what is the problem? Well, it really hurt when you said this, or when you acted this way, or when you...
And this whole process isn't just about hearing you say the sin. We've just spent time deepening our relationship, restoring our relationship. Right. It took time. Right. When you finally give time to talk something deep that you've just kind of been holding against each other. So it's a great metaphor but I'm thinking also, not even if you're married. Like I can think of
just
times...
in relationships.
Yeah, like I can think of times a girlfriend recently has told me, I'm not doing very well. And so I keep meaning to call and check on her. And that's shallowly checking on her or loving her. But I could do a better job of deeply loving her by showing up, COVID-friendly, of course, and say, tell me more, what is going on? And just give her a chance to go deep. But I think even with friends, we just stay shallow.
Right. Confessing deeply means what is going on. It's like the difference between, whenever you can tell, and I'm going to use a child example. So a child's supposed to clean the toilet, right, or a bath, right? Okay. Supposed to clean, right? You can tell, or maybe the counter or the kitchen floor, right? You can tell when they kind of just swish over it.
Swish over.
Just like, okay, I know that the rag covered most of the counter. There's a difference between that and cleaning the counter. God says, you just want to swish over. No, I just want to clean you. So to do that, let's talk about this dirt. And then when you know, because some of it we need to talk about so that you can let it go and receive my grace over it. You know, so that's what, and I think the psalm helps us do that. It's not like it's just telling us to do that. No, it is the tool through which we do that. I do know that there's one thing that confessing deeply does for me as I thought about it more, was it helps me see my blind spots. You know, I've talked a fair amount in the last couple months when the whole racism issues have come to the forefront of our social discourse, and that's good. And I've talked about how I'm looking at it differently now, and how that, and there's kind of a hidden kind of a racism or a portion of that I see. Wow, I did not seen that. I didn't realize that just because of my skin color, I just fare in a different way in society or something like that. I didn't realize that. So, but see, that is taking some time. Confessing deeply means, hold it here. I had a blind spot here, and now, like, I love when we have a deep conversation to where I see a blind spot. I did not even see that I was being unloving there. You know? And then, we've been really good about each other helping us see in our kids, maybe I'm blind to this. I don't think you see that when you don't answer very quickly, Delton, because...
That's a great new terminology, the blind spot thing. Just like a few months ago we came across, I'm losing my footing.
Right.
So these are great snippets of little word phrases that God could use. And the blind spot, it sounds a little bit safer. Let's talk about some blind spots maybe than you did this, you did this, you did this.
Right.
Or God, I did this. And he's like, it's just a little bit of a blind spot we need to talk about.
Right. Because he's a good father, and he wants us to live as free as possible from our brokenness. He knows we're going to deal with it the whole time. And he's provided this means for where not to become perfect, but to process through that. And he's saying, okay, come on, child, let's go. Here's a tool that'll help you. If you follow this, my spirit works through this word. You know, it's just like, blind spots.
So I have a next section that earlier today when we were talking about what we were going to talk about, you kept doing this thing that was really funny and cute. I hope you remember it now. So
what?
I hope you remember it.
Did you hear that? I did something cute. No, I want to document this. Is that on the record somewhere? She said I did something cute.
Cute.
Oh.
You do cute stuff all the time.
There we go. All right.
There's a section here about, okay, I got to get deep and then we'll see if you do the cute thing.
I won't do it now because I made a big deal.
So there's parts in this about hide your face from my sin, blot out my iniquity. And then the Message version is don't look too close for my blemishes and give me a clean bill of health. So there's parts of this psalm that some of us have no trouble going into the deep about how horrible we've been, or please don't look. I don't want you to see me.
Or how ugly I am inside and out.
How can you stand me? And then the enemy also, how could he stand you? He can't.
Yeah, he can't look at you.
Anyway, this whole thing about hide your face, don't look, and it's sort of ironic because he's like, I already can see it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like a kid who you just want them to finally come clean, but no, that's not it. When you know someone is so embarrassed. Or like you go to the doctor and there's something really gross you need him to look at, and or a splinter that you need your parent to get out,
right?
And you just don't want to give in, but you've got to because they got to see it to heal it.
Don't look. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the struggling with ourself of finding that joy, I can't remember how I asked you this.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, do it then. 'Cause I don't remember.
Okay, so in the part where we talked about clean completely, can I just read a couple of these lines? Yes. So, cleanse me with hyssop, I will be clean. Let's go back to that, okay? Yeah. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones you have crushed rejoice. Hide your face from my sin. Blot out my iniquity. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Renew a steadfast spirit within me. Don't cast me from your presence, or take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation. Grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. It's like David is do this, do this. I'm trusting you for this, or I'm asking you. And so I think what you're talking about was when you were reading these and you were saying, but I kind of don't want him to, I want him to hide my face from my sin, hide him from my sin. What does that mean to, I think David is using these words to reveal truly his feelings about his own sin. He says, gosh, hide your face from my sin. And I think it's as if God is answering, and I think we can assume the answer to these questions. There are a lot of questions, or demands, or asks, requests, a lot of requests. And I think God just saying, okay,
Yeah, that's it.
hide your face from my sins. Okay. Create in me a pure heart, oh God. Okay. He wants to do that. Renew a steadfast spirit within me. I thought you would never ask. Do not cast me from your presence. Good with me. Or take your Holy Spirit from me. You got it. I can agree with you on that. Restore to me the joy of your salvation. I'm ready. Let's do it. Right? I think that's what faith is. It's God has an answer to all these requests, and he goes, I'm where? Okay, good. I'll do it. Okay.
And I think what I like now, I just had a light bulb moment, would be I'm expecting this long, drawn-out questioning and sermon and list that he might have, and he's just like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting it to be so hard and torturous and laborious,
Right.
and he's just like, no, okay.
Okay.
So he's making it so much simpler than I'm trying to make this whole thing.
Because it's your natural bent, and me too. Okay, this is so good. So good. To continue to pay for your sin.
Yeah. Okay, that probably will be it. Continuing to pay.
Okay, but he is so gracious, and he is. It's almost like I thought you'd never ask. Restore to me the joy of your salvation. Oh, I was hoping you would get to asking me about that. Because he's the only one that can do this, and David's at the point where he's going to the source for joy.
Which brings us
He's
to
not going to Netflix. He's not going to games on the phone. He is not going to drink. He's finally going, no. I bet all the stuff that he went through, even the scriptures talk about the pain in his life after he did all this. He's finally going to God and saying, will you restore me? And God said, okay. Love it.
That's very good. Which is the hyssop thing, which I don't want us to run out of time for the hyssop. So you got excited about this hyssop stem. And I liked it. As the week went on, I tried to look up more about it. But so back in the time of Moses, and then the people were going to flee from Egypt and Pharaoh and all of the plagues. The last plague was that death would come and kill every firstborn, unless you put the blood of a pure sacrifice innocent lamb, over your doorpost, and that you would use a hyssop stem. It was a branch that they had that they used for brooms and things. So take a hyssop stem and take the blood of the lamb and put it over your doorpost, and then death would pass over your home.
Judgment would pass over. Right.
Yeah. So the whole thing about the instrument of the blood of the lamb was hyssop. You got excited about it Sunday, and then I'm like, okay.
What's he so excited about?
And now it's really being a special image that maybe when I'm struggling with forgiving myself, or that I didn't do it right, or how can you look at me, I could have this image of he does all the work. He sacrificed his son, and the blood of that son is applied over me.
Yes.
And death passes the deathy darkness. The guilt is gone. So maybe it's a great new word picture for those who, when I'm struggling with this whole confession and forgiveness and receiving the joy.
Right. I think I was telling you the daily prayer that I prayed for a long time. There's a line in there. I never appreciated it quite as it's gone to a new level just because of that hyssop statement where it says, cover me with your blood. So I think when I would pray now, cleanse me with hyssop and I will be clean. Cover me with your blood, Jesus. Let the cross of Jesus, let your cross cover this sin. And his answer to that is, okay.
Yeah. But wait a second, because there might be some people who are new to church terms.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden we'll sing a song that talks about blood.
The blood of Jesus,
It's like
right?
that's got to be a weird thing
Gotta
for
be
people
weird.
to hear. What are you talking
Right.
about, blood? So maybe just a quick, go over that a little bit more about
Right.
why do we talk about blood?
Well, shedding of blood is a huge symbol for when someone gives their life. Life was in the blood, and so when an animal would die and shed the blood would go. The life would go out of that. So shedding of blood is death, right? And so if brokenness and sinfulness of the world of humanity causes death, then if somebody else takes that death on innocently that doesn't deserve it, then we don't have to. So to be covered with the blood of the man means that the Jesus dying on the cross is applied to me. So cleanse me with hyssop, I will be clean. So if I'm struggling through a sin or I'm confessing a sin, I also need to receive forgiveness, not just confess. And cleanse me with hyssop is a request for the sacrifice of Jesus to apply to me. And I think God's answer is,
Okay.
there you go. God's okay. Isn't there a song that answer
Okay.
yes? No, yeah. We need to write a song. God's okay.
Yes, Lord, I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
But before we run out of time,
Okay.
help now.
The
make
last one,
make
yeah.
the leap from okay, I spent this time. He said okay, and then how do you get into the joy? Because so many people, you can see from their face, they are still trapped.
And sometimes you and I, too.
Sure,
sure.
yeah. But
we're in-
there's just this, you need to tell my face you need to look like joy. You
Right.
need to act like you've just been wiped with the blood of Jesus over this particular thing. How could you not dance and sing? So please help explain that part for us and people of that joy, that elusive joy, because you're still stuck somehow in the
Right.
condemnation. I don't know, but you're the pastor. You get to do that one.
Right. Well, these kinds of questions, there's not a intellectual answer. There is a journey to go on, a path. And it can be simple, like you were talking about it. Maybe it's not that complicated. Maybe Jesus is just saying, yes, I'm ready to do. So that line, beautiful line, restore to me the joy of, now this is a good, the pronouns your salvation. David's saying your salvation. Restore to me the joy of your salvation. And so one thing that I think is helpful for me, that I actually feel and experience the benefit of all that God's done for me, the forgiveness and grace resulting in joy, is that I think it's important for me to take the step of not just looking at these words from this psalm as words from David that instruct me how to do this or what I need to do or what he did. We can learn about salvation here. We can learn about forgiveness. We can learn about repentance. We can learn about confession without engaging it, without owning the words. And so allow the psalm to be mine. Restore to me. Let the me be me, not David anymore. And say, Jesus, restore to me. Now, it just makes sense that if am I going to help Jesus? Am I going to join Jesus in what he wants to do? He wants to restore to me the joy of the salvation he's made possible. Now I get to, okay, Jesus, I'm ready to join you. I think that's what David was ready to join God in giving him joy even after all he's done. So I think owning it, engaging it, and letting this become my words, not just words from David tell me what I ought to be doing. No, they're path. That's why I think owning the psalm, praying it over and over again, pray it every day.
So I'm going to rephrase it in my words would be
Please.
the same thing you just said, but it's just hitting me differently.
Good.
Instead of just reading it and then walking off, actually doing it. So it's like an owner's manual of something that you don't ever get around to, reading and doing. Or you watch someone else do something, but you watch someone else do the zip line, but you never do the zip line, Yeah. So having it as a tool that I can now use to help me go deep with God. And so that was good about actually using it, actually
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
it,
yeah.
not
So
just
that's
reading
what the
it.
psalm is for. That's why it's so helpful. Didn't you read somewhere about the history of the? I mean, this has been used so much in Christians, billions of Christians across
Yeah,
the
I did have a
world.
great quote.
Well, and so so it would be great. This is a great psalm to journal, especially if joy's an issue. Then, like, when you're reading through verse, is it 17 or what is that? I can't even read. 12. Then, restore to me the joy of salvation. Just set the joy of your salvation. And notice what God brings to mind. Maybe journal that out and say, okay, it might be something that I need to confess deeply about. God, I don't know where this is coming from. What am I holding on to that I need to let go of? Help me. And we can do it because we can count on mercy. The whole thing is just counting on mercy. So, there. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
helpful.
this commentary was saying that this confession has been used by people throughout time to help them examine their excuses, half-hearted repentance, lack of sorrow over sin that keeps them from experiencing the full pardon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it truly is. If you're dealing with a sense of distance or guilt, this would be a great tool to use. Stagnant in your faith or going through the motions. And then I just glanced down at a phrase from the Message Bible, and it
Good.
would be like verse 19.
Oh, good.
No, 17. My sacrifice is a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart you will not despise. I like this version where
Good.
it says, "When I learned God worship when my pride was shattered,
Oh,
and heart-shattered lives, ready for love, don't for a moment escape God's notice." I just got chill bumps. I'm going to have to read that one
okay,
again.
please read that again. Okay, everybody receive this. It's really good.
I learned God worship when my pride was shattered. So I'm saying that means when I humble myself and go and do this.
Let yourself be crushed.
Let
right?
my pride be shattered. I will learn God worship. Heart-shattered lives. Okay, so this is going to be painful sometimes, and I'm going to have to go through some heart-shattering moments confessing.
Well, we have been shattered, haven't we?
So
Life does that. Life shatters
It does.
us.
But heart-shattered lives that are ready for love, which isn't that what we're craving, is the joy of our salvation, the love
We
of
don't
God.
really see it. Sometimes we build walls against that love. But
Yes.
that's what this whole process is to break those walls down. And okay, go ahead.
But that heart-shattered life of mine that is ready for his love
Ready for love.
doesn't ever escape his notice. He's looking and seeing that I'm wanting that. That
you think-
part of me he sees and says, yeah, well, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all we need to say next time. Okay.
Okay.
This
I
was
think
all
God's
46
saying,
minutes of blah, blah, blah. We could have just, okay.
okay. God's big okay.
God's big
To
okay.
his grace. That's so good.
This was fun.
I just love the idea, the fact that God cannot resist a broken heart.
Yeah, yeah.
A broken heart that turns to him. He can't resist it. His love is that way. He just is drawn to.
Well, aren't we? We're drawn to that little broken puppy. Yeah. I just went to a puppy. How about a person whose heart is broken and shattered and you just want to love them?
Yeah.
That's God.
Yeah.
You want to help them.
Yeah. And so he doesn't want us to stay there. He wants to restore to us joy and life,
All right.
no matter what.
This has been great. I'm sorry we aren't very good at reading your comments and responding, but we will try to read them afterwards. And thank you for participating and being a part of this.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been, gosh.
Yeah, so join us. Share with people too. I love my church. I want y'all to join us on Sunday mornings, 10:45 and then 11.
Yeah,
Just
please,
keep
on Sunday
sharing
mornings
it.
at pre-service, there was that share challenge. I think we challenged 10. We got 19 shares.
That's
It was
great.
one of the highest.
And we have talked to some friends that have said, I haven't watched any yet.
Right,
They're just so busy with other things. And then the quote,
right.
when you miss church, pretty soon you won't
when you miss
church.
church, eventually,
Yeah.
the problem is eventually you might.
Yeah.
You,
So just encourage
Yeah.
people. Come on, this Sunday
might
it's still
not miss
open.
church.
It's open at 11
Right.
and there's room.
right.
Yeah.
So, very good. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's do that. Father, thank you so much for this time. And thank you for your word as a journey into life and a path to follow. Lord, bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lifts up his smile countenance upon you, and he gives you his peace. Amen.